I still got seeds in my mouth, yo.
Sounds like a personal problem to me. What's up, everybody? It is Wednesday, June the 25th, right? Yes, maybe, I think. When,
It's
go ahead.
it's National Soccer Day Survivor Day.
It is like National Soccer Day Sweat Day is what it is. So basically, I did get an entry through to the DraftKings. I'm still in the final 30 for the FanDuel Survivor Tournament. And then I also am going to be watching Game 3 of the College World Series tonight.
You're gonna need so much triple X vitamin water, dude.
Dude, no, I don't need triple X vitamin water. I'll have that magnesium naturally. I really don't have a good feeling about tonight, though. 1 for 3. I mean, I think the probability of me advancing in the FanDuel tournament is greater than advancing in DraftKings or Vanny winning the World Series. So I'm putting it.
Would you say your feeling about tonight is like my feeling was about Casimir last night?
Yes, that is what I am saying. So pitching last night away from Kershaw was just atrocious. Hope everyone survived. Also, we have the brackets to announce for today. Basically, there's some interesting matchups. So should we do that now, or should
Dave?
What's that?
You got to early look at them?
Oh yeah. I mean, because I'm the one who's going to be announcing them.
I feel like that's not fair, though. You're in it. Now you have like an extra hour or 2 hours to prepare over me. Like, this is completely unfair. I'm calling bullshit.
Oh, he's not going to have to prepare much for his opponent. We'll put it that way.
Yeah. I mean, basically,
easy first round.
The one opponent that I want to be matched up against, it seems like Soccer Dave luck is still running strong.
Oh, so you got Tommy?
I'm not going to say.
I can't say anything, dude. My one win was by half a point, and then Derek and Tommy just rolled me.
I got bounced.
Yeah.
Although some guys did advance that I outscored, so I got that as a consolation prize in my favor.
So, should we go ahead and just announce today?
Yeah.
Drew wants to know what the purchase package for chat is.
Can you still not get in?
No, he just has to type in Derek Carty is Batman as his login, and then it works.
Is his chat not working? Because mine wasn't until yesterday, and I figured out why.
What did you do?
If you have HTTPS instead of HTTP, the chat won't show up.
Oh.
Hey,
What?
is anyone in chat watching the Rockies game? Is something happening? Because it's been on Justin Morneau at bat for 5 minutes for me right now.
They're probably doing a review or something. So I mean, let's not worry though about the games going on right now. That doesn't really serve the viewer at all. Let's worry about the first round of matchups for this daily fantasy elite cup. So there is no pretty bracket just yet. All I have in front of me is a bracket from Better Bracket Maker, but these are the official brackets. So first round, Aaron Law versus Hoop 2410. The winner, Hoop 2410 has been balling, by the way, on DraftKings. The winner of Aaron Law and Hoop 2410 gets Derek Carty versus Birdwings. Derek, you probably don't know who Birdwings is. No one really does.
That's rough.
Nobody knows who Birdwings is.
I feel like I've seen the name.
According to Sirius, no one knows who Birdwings is, even though he's the top player. Napster Man is playing Fishcake King, so another chance for Fishcake King to add a plaque on his mantle. I know that he has been bragging pretty strong. The winner of Napster Man and Fishcake King will be facing our boy, the Tony M, against Art Vandelay. So Tony M and Art Vandelay will be playing against each other. Let me see if I can get this other side of the bracket on my laptop. I just have to expand the window. So that's those are the teams on the left-hand side. Aaron Law, Hoop 2410, Derek Carty, Bird Wings, Napsterman, Fishcake King, the Tony M, and Art Vandalay. Leading us off on the right-hand side, our boy and fellow co-host, Mike Leone, is playing another co-host, and some might say the voice of Daily Fantasy, DB730. So that should be an interesting matchup. Mike actually messaged me today, and he said, "Kitchen, you're gonna kill me, but I can't make this show on Friday. I've got a bachelor party, and anytime I get out of Buffalo, I've got to take that chance." So hopefully he will find some time to play against DB730. The winner of their game plays Daily Crusher and Show Me the Money. Show Me the Money is like, both those guys are pretty hardcore elite guys, so that'll be interesting. And then the final four matchups, Soccer Dave is facing Tommy G. Oh man, I'm actually going to tell Mike to price the BVP guys a little less than they normally do, just to give Tommy like some sorts of benefit. Like, I don't want to do to him basically what Derek Carty did to him, because that was embarrassing. So hoping that we can have more of an even series.
Derek beat me because stupid Matt Shoemaker.
Listen,
this is
not about you, Davis. This is not about you.
It's always about me. If you spend any time around me.
I like Shoemaker. I was targeting Shoemaker. It wasn't just something I lucked into. We went over this.
So then, the last matchup. So basically, I'll be playing either Magic Sports Guy or Louis Cards in that final matchup. So should be fun. That is the Elite Cup, and I'm sure they'll have some graphics to throw up there. And we'll see. I mean, obviously the big matchups. Well, not big, because it's not really competitive, but big as far as personality. Soccer Dave, Tommy G, Leone facing DB, and then on the other side, Derek Carty and Bird Wings, and Nap and Fishcake King. Those are kind of the interesting matchups, and I feel like I got a pretty good draw. That's all I'm going to say. So,
how did I do? What do you think?
What's that?
How did I do?
You got a pretty tough draw.
Yeah, you're in a rough spot.
Yeah, like the toughest draw, but don't worry about it.
No. All right, so with that being said, we'll get on to tonight's games. Guys, I expect the best analysis out there because I'm going to need it tonight. Big
All right,
time.
well, let's talk about starting pitching. Number one option, Hisashi Iwakuma, Derek?
I don't know. I think he's an option. I don't think he's my top option today.
Who is the top option today?
I think I'm probably going probably Anibal or Garrett Richards.
See, I really liked Anibal Sanchez too, but just looking at stuff sort of around the industry, no one really seems to agree with that. And then just in general, like you just have to go with the park factor with Iwakuma. He's just in a lot better spot.
You were such a sheep. You were such a sheep, Davis.
Sheep.
I am a sheep. Yeah.
I need to go get my son Kai. He knows how to say sheep sound now. So I think
go get him.
Well, he's taking a nap, so it's not.
I like Iwakuma, but I think he's a little. Well, I mean, everyone's kind of risky today. There's no like real clear pick, but I don't like his risk in cash games because Boston they have a lot of good lefty bats. I feel like that can do some damage to him and put up like multiple runs on him. So
yeah, that's true. I don't like. I mean, we've talked about this on the show before, though. I don't like Garrett Richards against the Twins. They are right-handed heavy, but that lineup is really a lot better than it seems like it would be on the surface. And we've seen it a couple times now where they've put up like 8 or 9 runs in a game. And Richards is someone where if the fastball command is not there, like if it is bad, it's going to be real bad. It was 3 weeks ago he didn't make it out of the first inning. He only recorded like 1 out. Like I think he has way more blow-up potential than someone like Iwakuma, who basically goes 7 innings almost every single start. What about you, Tuttle?
Yeah, I agree with kind of what Derek said in the sense that it's kind of a crazy night or a risky night as far as starting pitcher goes. There's not a clear-cut option for you to fade like we all did with Kershaw last night. Tonight,
Wait, a
I
clear-cut
like
option to fade?
yeah,
he had
just
to
like
get that
we all did
in.
with Kershaw last night. But I like Iwakuma. I like Richards. A guy that I want to bring up that I think is getting overlooked quite a bit that I haven't seen many people mention him would be Matt Latos. I think he sets up in a decent spot. I know Batman's not super high on him.
I wanted to talk about him too.
Yeah, I was prepared to talk about Latos. Go ahead, Davis.
He's very cheap. I need to go find this tweet that I saw today. So he's really cheap, and when he's healthy, he is basically he's a top 30 fantasy option. Derek, does that sound about right? When he's healthy.
When he's healthy and when he's right, which I don't think he is right now.
Yeah. So I'm trying to find this tweet but basically like all of his peripherals since he's been back, and it is a small sample, are really bad, and it has led people to believe that he's not healthy, that he's not Matt Latos, and so yeah, he's like 11,000 on draft day. He's like 14 or 15 on draft street. He's more expensive.
Aside from the peripherals though, like he doesn't look right. Like his fastball is down like 3 miles an hour. His pitches aren't moving the way they usually do, like especially horizontally. Like they're all coming in on the same vertical plane right now, and I don't know. He worries me.
Yeah. Does that information change your opinion at all, Tuttle?
It's more of not really. I mean, I understand the concern. I think it's something you certainly want to factor in. If you're playing a guy like Latos, it's going to be more of a matchup play and more of a price play. It's not necessarily that you're looking. I think he's a guy. I guess I'll put it this way. I think he's a guy that can get by the Cubs lineup with a decent line, even if he doesn't have his top stuff.
Yeah, I absolutely agree, and I think he is a price play. I think on Draft Street and Draft Day, he's particularly a price play. On DraftKings, he's priced up with he's like more expensive than Kluber on DraftKings, and I would much rather use Corey Kluber tonight. I have not looked at Batman since this morning. What does Kluber look like now that the matchups are in, Derek?
He's kind of middle of the road. He's not like in the same grouping as like Iwakuma and Sanchez and Richards. He's like a step below that.
Yeah, and for me, I would rather have Kluber than Richards tonight, and I don't know if it's just because I don't know why that is. Honestly, Richards has all the stuff that I like. He throws really fast. I think it is just because where I've spent most of my lineups today is over on Draft Street, and he was the second most expensive pitcher on Draft Street today, behind Strasburg in the all-day slate. But just say on FanDuel, your one starting pitcher, who's the one guy that you're taking, Derek? Is it Sanchez?
I still haven't decided yet. It's probably Sanchez, but I mean, it's probably Sanchez.
What about you, Tuttle?
It's going to be right now. It's kind of come down to Iwakuma and Garrett Richards, depending on what lineup I like. So it's kind of playing the price, and I think both of them are comparable starts tonight. So it's basically coming down to that last lineup spot. What can I fit in there with my starting pitcher?
For me, go ahead.
I was just going to say, we got a question on Edwin Jackson, too, that we should touch on in chat. I don't think it's a necessary risk.
You can never feel comfortable starting him in a cash game because he's so volatile. He puts so many guys on base, and his whip is terrible. And so if he's having a bad start where he gives up a couple walks and then he misses his spot on a fastball, it's done. It's over for you. It's 5 earned runs in 4 innings. You just don't do it.
It sounds like, Derek, would you take it sounds like the question was geared towards like a second or third starting pitcher option on Draft Street. Does that change your opinion, Davis?
What does it cost there?
It's 1,200 or 12,000, not 1,200.
I mean, skip the aces and go like Alex Wood, James Shields, and Iwakuma. Those guys are all in that mid-tier range. I would much rather do that. Like, Iwakuma's not priced like an elite starting pitcher. I think he's 17,000 on Draft Street.
Alex Wood against your boys in Houston, Davis?
Yeah,
what are you thinking?
I'm trying to.
This Davis isn't. He's delusional.
I'm trying to deliver unbiased fantasy advice. It's something new that I'm trying. It feels wrong. It feels dirty. But I think we do need to talk about Alex Wood. I know that Derek's seasonal guys have been drooling over Alex Wood ever since he got sent back to the pen. And they, like, when I listen to the season-long fantasy podcast and they talk about stashing this dude who's in the bullpen, it sounds like ridiculous to me. So it must mean that in general, the fantasy baseball community has a pretty high opinion of him. I don't know much about him. I personally would not use him against the Astros, but there are definitely people who would like to. Just talk about Alex Wood a little bit.
I mean, Wood's a pretty good pitcher. He's got pretty good stuff. He's got pretty good control of it. But the matchup tonight, I don't really like. He's going over to the AL. He's going into Minute Maid Park. The Astros are very right-handed. So, I mean, even though he is a pretty good pitcher in a vacuum, the matchup today just doesn't set up very well for him.
Okay, and that's fair. So would you rather use, I mean, just knowing what you know about their price, would you rather use Wood for 4K more or Edwin Jackson?
I think Edwin Jackson. I mean, especially if I'm using him as like my third starting pitcher, like on Draft Street or something like that. Like, I don't know.
I just think the way guys are priced today, that's not a decision you have to make. Seriously.
I don't think you need to pay more for Wood than Jackson.
Yeah. I mean, to me, an ideal scenario is where you don't end up with either one of them.
You just end up with Joe Saunders, right?
Well, no. I mean, you can go Iwakuma, Shields, and then take, Dan Herron is only 2K more. Wouldn't you rather take Dan Herron? Even though it's against the Royals, who, yes, don't strike out, but they're also pathetic. Like, there's no denying that the Royals, a lot of the times, are pathetic offensively.
See, I think that's an overstatement. I think the Royals are better than people give them credit for. I think the Royals have quite a few good hitters in that lineup. They
don't walk, and once you get past Alex Gordon, it's all trash. Everyone past the 5-hole is a below average hitter, and you can't even tell me that's not. You know that's true.
I'm actually looking at the Vegas line for the first time today, and they're not heavily favored, but I'm seeing KC around -140, -150. That's more heavily favored than I would have actually expected.
I really like Shields, but we're talking about value options right now. I think Shields actually. I was sort of and I'm really bad about the Royals. I think everything involved with that organization is awful. But on the way back from San Francisco, Ben and I got into an argument about Shields, and I was like, oh, he's done, he's toast. Like, clearly just being an overreactive fan. And then Ben and I actually looked at it, and it's just sort of been, his struggles have sort of been BABIP-driven, and I think his K rate is down like a little bit. But I think 16K for Shields on Draft Street is a really good price, and he also has a really good price on DraftKings as well, I believe. Would you use Shields in a cash game tonight, Dan, or is he sort of off your board just because of his struggles this year?
I think he's an okay cash game option. I think if we had an ace or someone that was actually jumping out at us as a must play, then you would just table and use Shields for kind of more of the GPP option. But we've touched on it numerous times already. There's not necessarily a safe option tonight. I mean, any guy you're going to take has some sort of risk in him.
Yeah, there's no Kershaw tonight.
Yep, no Kershaw that we can fade.
Yeah, I and just in general, Kansas City is a really bad hitting environment. It's huge. The wind blows in. It's cold in Kansas right now. There are no birds chirping. An hour and a half away from the stadium. So just for the bird for the bird chirping update. But yeah, I honestly think starting pitching is a pretty short conversation day. I think you have to #trust yourself with the decision between Iwakuma and Sanchez. I'm going
brutal. #trust yourself.
#trust yourself, dude.
That's brutal.
Honestly, I get #trust yourself in my mentions. Like it's pretty frequent. TBH, like it gets in there.
What is the most What's the most that people tease you about as far as like hashtags or stuff that you have?
That's an
Like
interesting
there's
question.
birds chirping. I mean, there's trust yourself. There's the film.
It's the Vincent Brown thing. Vincent Brown definitely, and I was right about that one, but it was just such a long, drawn out process that people love to still bring it up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You also were big on Terrell Pryor too.
I still love Terrell Pryor. He was awesome when he started. He was the top 12 fantasy quarterback every single time he started. Not the point though. All right, we're making decisions. One cash game pitcher, Derek. Make your decision right now.
I may switch before I actually put the lineup in, but I'll say Hannibal.
Dan?
I'm starting to convince myself on Shields, actually.
Yeah. I'm going to go Iwakuma. So we're doing a really good job helping the viewers right now.
But that's
I will say though that I think that these are the three options that you should look at though. I think outside of these options it gets significantly more risky, and I see an argument for all three of them. And I will say that if this health stuff wasn't there, I would say he makes an ideal play on Draft Street, but probably just don't use him in cash games,
Yeah.
I think.
I am lactose intolerant tonight.
All right, that was awful.
Soccer Dave strikes again.
Ooh, maybe I will just go 3 for 3 tonight. But no, I think the conversation about pitchers is kind of just indicative about how it is tonight. Like, you're not going to see a pitcher that's going to be like 40 to 60% owned. It's going to be like 20, 30. I mean, really, it's going to be kind of divided into probably 20 to 25%. I just don't see that one pitcher that everyone's unless someone's moving the needle that I don't know about. I haven't been following.
Brad Mills, bro, the $1 wonder.
Yeah.
Dude, you know after Casimir last night, you just know he's going to pitch just an absolute gem.
Only if Steve stacks the Mets. That is the only condition in which Mills will throw a good game.
That's got to be one of our new tools. Who is Steve playing?
Who is Steve playing? Yeah, absolutely.
Steve last night, the guys won profited 8 days in a row before last night. And last night he rolled out Casimir and lost. And you would have thought that a close family member had passed away.
Dude, we were joking in chat last week that if a psychiatrist looked at Fantasy Insiders chat, it'd be the easiest diagnosis of bipolar disorder that he could make ever when it comes to Steve, when his teams are doing well or when they're doing bad. It's crazy. I love it, but it's crazy.
Luckily for us in San Francisco, he was winning. So that was good. Otherwise, he would have done the Arrested Development walk-in. What was the music?
Charlie
We need to
Brown.
have the music.
I didn't get any. I wasn't getting any reception on my phone in the stadium yesterday, so I couldn't check my scores. And I walked out of the stadium and pulled up FanDuel, and I saw I was in first of everything, and I was so happy. I was like, "Wow, everyone must have faded Kershaw." Like, it was just one of those. Like, it's so good when you walk out of the stadium and see you're first and everything.
Yeah, that was awesome. I mean, like I
It
said,
doesn't happen very often for me in baseball.
yeah, I think it was Kyle trying to get the nah wave and said that everything was so bad that he was looking at old videos to get the Davis Maddox nah wave, and you definitely pulled that move. I mean, you were that guy last night. He was like,
was,
"Oh, really? Yep. Oh, because I have all $2 and $5 games that says it was not a bad night last night." How much did you win on the $2 GPPs?
I won $560 on FanDuel.
Off of how much in play? It had to be
Off of like 150.
Yeah, I mean that's a pretty good ROI. Good stuff. All right, let's move on to hitters.
All right, let's talk about stacks. No Coors game tonight. The Coors game has already played today. So the stack. Well, I'll let Derek talk. What's the first stack that you're looking at tonight?
It's probably got to be Detroit. I mean, they're getting a big park boost. Joe Saunders is awful. Detroit is super right-handed. So I think that's going to be the first place I'm looking if I'm doing a stack.
Tuttle.
Well, he stole mine.
I think we should probably be talking about the Indians, because anytime they get to face like a mediocre righty, that like they just end up going nuts. And I hate the Indians. I hate them. I never want to use them because they have like 9 outfielders who are all the same person. They're like MLB The Show creative players, but like and now Asdrubal Cabrera and Carlos Santana are finally good. So like that offense just scores a ton. I really like them against Chase Anderson.
The other thing I really like about that matchup is that they're coming from Progressive Field, which is much tougher on lefties than it is on righties. So tonight when the lefties are getting the platoon advantage and that kind of big park swing, it's kind of like that combination is nice.
Yeah. Outside of those two, I don't see any like super obvious stacks though. I think it sort of goes into what we're talking about with all the uncertainty at starting pitching. I do like the left-handed Angels bats. Calhoun and Hamilton are in a hashtag pretty good spot versus Johan Pino. And I guess
they'd be next on the list for me.
Yeah.
Angels bats.
All right. Well, let's move on. Talk about some positions. Talking about catchers.
Whoa! We should touch on the what is it? It's the tied for the highest over/under. Yankees and Toronto bats.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, I was looking at this earlier. Toronto's going super left-handed against Kuroda. They have including switch hitters 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So they only have one righty in. So Kuroda's going to get like donged on tonight, pretty heavy.
Someone's going to hang dong on him.
Someone's going to hang dong. The problem is you're not playing Kawasaki or Ghost because they just suck. But I guess everywhere Adam Lind will be pretty cheap relative to where he normally bats, so that's pretty good for him. And Colby Rasmus is still pretty expensive coming back from the DL, so I don't hate that at all.
Yeah, he's not good from the left side of the plate, but like Deano Navarro is going to be cheap, and he's in a hashtag pretty good spot lineup. So I think Toronto bats are stackable, and Yankees bats are stackable at that too. I think if you're just looking at Vegas as an indicator, I think that's obviously going to be a high-scoring environment.
Okay. Now we can talk about catchers, because I would prefer Saltalamacchia over Navarro, even in a Blue Jay stack. Saltalamacchia is... I don't know why, but he's still super cheap everywhere, and he's been really good since returning from the DL. He's someone who sort of always pops up as a really cheap option who is pretty skilled from both sides of the plate. So Saltalamacchia, I'm kind of locking him in tonight, especially with Avila not in the lineup for the Tigers.
Looks like he got bumped down, unfortunately. He's batting 7th tonight.
That does suck. AJ Burnett's terrible, though. And obviously this is the part where I would say John Jaso, but I think that game is probably going to get rained out tonight. It's looking like the weather there is looking really bad. I did look at the weather map for New York and not for Oakland, though. I did make sure to look at the right weather map. What about you, Derek? Who does Batman like at catcher?
It likes Gaddis by a hair, but that's against McHugh, who it's not giving. I don't think it's giving proper credit yet, because I think McHugh made some changes this year that make him a better pitcher than any projection system is going to credit him for. So that would put Navarro at the top, and given his price, I think he's going to be my cash game guy tonight.
Okay. I still think I'm sticking to Saltalamacchia just because he is so cheap. Who would be, like, regardless of price, who would be your number one option, Dan? Would it be Gaddis?
I think on FanDuel it'd be Victor Martinez.
Yeah.
But he's not catcher eligible everywhere. He's DH, I think, on Draft Street and first base on DraftKings. But yeah, it'd be Victor Martinez. I don't mind Gaddis as an option, though, either. Well, Davis said has to piss, so we're going to go on to second base, Derek, me and you. Who's your top second base option of the night?
I'm pretty sure it was Utley. Let me look it up, though. One sec.
Personally, I think I'm going to be going Kinsler.
Oh, yeah, definitely Kinsler. Sorry, I don't know why that didn't pop into my head. Kinsler, easily the top option. Big park swing. Saunders is terrible. Platoon advantage. It's Kinsler.
Revenge factor.
Revenge, he got it.
First at bat last night.
I didn't watch the replay. I saw some beat tweet say that it kind of looked like he was pointing at the Rangers dugout after he hit the home run. Did any of you see the actual play?
No, that would have been classic though. Did you see?
I didn't notice it.
Did you see the Vanderbilt game last night in the 9th inning when that guy named Pappy just like basically got caught in a rundown and leveled the Vandy third baseman. It was very infuriating. I was like, put me out there. But
I don't think anybody actually watches.
No, I don't think they did. I mean, I thought maybe someone was like getting ready for Sports Center and the game was still on. But he definitely leveled third baseman and almost got thrown out. He'll be in the big league someday, though. Like, he's a really good player. I just wish that I was there and 6'3", same weight. I mean, I really feel like the weight I have would be put me on a level field. I just need more height to get to him. Oh, hey, Davis.
Throw that weight around now.
Hey, Davis. How's it going?
It's going pretty good. How are you guys doing?
Did everything come out okay?
Yeah, I just had to pee real quick.
Okay, cool.
Ben's got to teach you the move.
Yeah, really, man.
Does.
I'm not going to do that.
We've got to get trucker buddies for this show. We can even have them labeled, but any good host needs a trucker buddy to pee underneath the desk.
Mm-hmm.
I've done what, probably 150 Fantasy Insider shows and had to pee like twice.
Yeah, well, it's those times that are crucial.
Okay, well, choose between Kinsler and Kipnis.
We already just said Kinsler's a top play.
Unbelievable.
I like Kipnis.
I like Kipnis too. Kipnis is probably my 2 or 3.
Yeah, I would like. I think I'm on FanDuel. I'm probably gonna split them, and on DraftKings, I think I'm just going Kipnis actually.
What does Kipnis cost these days? I feel like I haven't played him in forever.
Yeah, I haven't played him in a while either. I don't know what his price is.
He was super inexpensive for a while, and now he's back up to like.
He's back up.
Yeah, he's like back up to being. He's like his pre-injury price basically.
Okay.
But like if you look on Draft Street, Kinsler is 8.5, and Kipnis is all the way down at 4.8. So like that's not even a conversation. Like you just take Kipnis there. Like I think paying up for Kinsler on Draft Street would be like a tournament only thing, but for cash games, I think you just have to use Kipnis.
Yeah, I think if you're looking for like middle of the road or cheaper options, I think Derek Dietrich is in a good spot. I've liked him the past couple days. He's done pretty well, Monday in particular, and he's in pretty much the same situation today. And I think super deep. I think maybe Ryan Flaherty, like minimum price guy.
Okay, yeah, I mean Noesi is terrible, so
yeah,
I don't have any problem with that at all. Shortstop is ugly like it always is, especially when Tulo is already played and Hanley is in a pitcher's park. So, what are we going? Oh, he's not in the lineup today?
Nope.
Okay. What would you go? Jose Reyes is the top play, Derek?
Reyes is the top play, and then I'm sure the guy that you're on, as Drew Ball, is probably number 2.
Yeah, and they're actually like comparable salaries a lot of places, and so where they are comparable, I would definitely take Reyes instead. But when they're not comparable, I would take Asdrubal, where he's a lot cheaper. I don't think Reyes is such.
I'm fine with that. Yeah, I think Reyes is ahead of him, but not so much that you really have to pay a lot more if that's what it's going to cost.
Right. Where are you on this, Tuttle?
Yeah, I have Reyes as my top option for sure. Another guy, I think, as long as he keeps getting a decent spot in the batting order, that you have to look at is Eric Ibar, batting 5th again today against rookie pitcher. It's an option. I think Reyes and Asdrubal are better options, but I wouldn't hate or think you were necessarily in the wrong if you wanted to roster Ibar, especially if you're throwing a lineup with Hamilton out there. Pairing those two back-to-back, I think, is a decent play.
Yeah, I actually have Ibar on DraftKings just because the salary ended up working out, so I don't hate that at all. And any exposure to Saunders is okay exposure. I know there was a little bit of talk when he first came up this year that his increased velocity was going to make it harder for righties to get hits off of him, but it hasn't really proven to be true. He's been mediocre, which is exactly what you expect Joe Saunders to be. There weren't really any crazy value options other than that leapt out to me though. Derek, were you saying something?
No, sorry. You mentioned Suarez when you're talking about Saunders, right? You kind of cut out for a sec.
No, I didn't say. I did not.
No.
Well, you said exposure to Joe Saunders, so I figured you meant Suarez.
Yeah, I mean, I think as a cheap guy, I'm
an
totally
idiot.
cool with Suarez. I mean, I don't think too much of him as a hitter, but the matchup's so great and the price is right.
Yeah. Okay. Moving on. Let's talk about first baseman. So Miguel Cabrera, like, do you have to play him? Like, can you get off of Miguel Cabrera tonight, Tuttle?
I probably can't. He's burned me so much this last week or so. He's just been. He hasn't. I don't think he's paid off his price tag in quite a while. But the matchup's just so good in a hitter's park against Joe Saunders. I don't want to. I think as far as cash games go, it's an interesting situation where you just match Miguel Cabrera. 80% of the people are going to play him, but you just match it just in case he does have that 2 home run game. So it's a point where I think you just roster him just to match everybody else.
Yeah,
I have Votto in over him, and like don't feel that terrible about it.
Really?
What about Crush?
You just hate Ejax, huh? Yeah, Crush is my number 2. I like Crush. I think if you're in a GPP and you want to spend on a first baseman, you don't want to go with the herd with Miggy. I think Crush is your guy.
In all seriousness, does it get more FanDuel than Joey Votto? Like, the dude is just an on-base machine. He's up against a guy who, like, walks so many batters. Like, Edwin Jackson loves to put guys on for free, and he's in, like, a hitter's park. So, he's super FanDuel. Obviously, on DraftKings, I think you have to play Miggy, although Miggy's price tag on DraftKings is ridiculous. But on FanDuel, I have no problem taking Votto. In general, a lot of the times against a righty, I like to take Votto because he's cheap, and he's going to grind out his 2 to 4 points every single night.
I don't know. Votto's all right. I like Adam Lind as like a cheaper, like, contrarian play tonight. I think if I'm not going like Miggy or Crush, that's the guy I'm going with. But I'm going to be going Miggy in all my cash games, obviously.
Yeah, I do really like Miggy, obviously, but it's hard to put together a FanDuel roster that I like with him at first base, given the other options that I would want to spend on. Third base, I really like Connor Gillespie. We haven't talked much about White Sox bats versus Ubaldo, who is still terrible, still really bad at throwing baseballs. He bats third. He's super cheap on every site. Has remained super cheap. But that's sort of like a value option. I wouldn't put him at the top. Who's your top third base option, Derek?
It's going to be Wright at home against Brad Mills. Citi Field is actually, in terms of home runs, an above-average hitter's park. And against a guy who's not that good, I think Wright's the top third baseman tonight.
Yeah, that game is probably, I still don't think, going to happen. So I would say for me, the top option is actually probably Chisenhall. Given that game is probably not going to happen, and Chisenhall's price is like the same on FanDuel as it is on DraftKings, which that's really weird. It's just because of the way sites have price and factor in recency. His tag is going to be really different based on where you're playing. Do you like Chisenhall tonight, Dan?
Yeah, I like Chisenhall. Carlos Santana's an okay option too, if you want to go with either of those Cleveland guys. Pick on Saunders, can continue with Castellanos if you really want a cheap option. If you're going to fit Miggy into your lineup, I think he's a decent option just for that salary savings that you can get. But I'm with you guys with Wright and the Cleveland guys. I think Connor's in a decent spot too. But
any love for newly homered J.J. Hardy versus the awful Hector Noesi?
Is that for me or Dan?
Either one of you.
I want to throw out Dominguez, too, as under the radar.
Oh, gosh. Davis is about to go off.
No. I mean, Dominguez obviously is a great play versus left.
Just jizzed in his pants.
No, dude, I'm doing unbiased fantasy advice.
Davis is going to take another bathroom break now.
The weather in that Baltimore White Sox game is a little concerning. Otherwise, that'd be all the Baltimore guys against Noesi. But you're talking about
what's the over under in that game? Like 1 million?
Yes, totally.
How did you know?
I haven't looked at any Vegas stuff today. TBH.
It's 9.
Kyle says it looks nice here so far, so he's in that area. He says the birds are currently chirping. So
Are they? Okay, well, that is super good information. Thank you very much for that, Kyle. Valuable.
We got a Luis Valbuena for GPP.
Yeah, I mean, he's like, whatever, I guess. I would much rather play any of the guys we mentioned. Connor Gillespie is always super cheap. I'd much rather play him.
I prefer Gillespie to Valbuena, but I don't think Valbuena's a bad play in GPP. He's a cheap guy.
I think my preference as far as GPP goes would be Juan Francisco over Valbuena.
Yeah, I have absolutely no problem with that. Okay, yeah, that's probably about all the third baseman we need to talk to. So let's move on to the outfield. Who is your favorite expensive guy, Derek?
It's got to be Trout. I mean, against Pino, even without the platoon advantage, I mean, Pino's just not. He doesn't project to be a good pitcher at all, and Trout is Trout. So,
what about you? What about you, Dan?
Yeah, I think it's Trout pretty much hands down. Dude, I can't even really make the case for anyone else to compete against him.
I think Stanton is a good play tonight too because he's getting a big park jump, but I mean he's not Trout.
Yeah, that's kind of because I'm going down FanDuel salaries and I saw Stanton next, and I basically have the same reasoning as Derek. You can make a case, but I don't think it's nearly as strong. So I think if you're paying up, you just go Trout, and I don't think there's a reason to pay up for outfield though today.
I agree with you. There's tons of value options, but I do really think that Billy Hamilton, he's getting really expensive, but against a guy who walks, like against a bad control pitcher, love Billy Hamilton because, and we talked about this on the show a lot, but all he needs to do to make your night, like him getting on base twice is probably going to be the equivalent of someone else hitting 2 home runs. Like get on first, steal a base, maybe steal a second base, and score a run. Like it almost is even more consistent than taking guys with sick power because all he needs to do is get walked once.
John Baker's just got awful too, as far as throwing out percentage. This year it looks like 28 people have stolen a base on him in 30 attempts. He's only got 2 stealing.
Yeah.
And Baker's the one in the lineup tonight. So yeah, it's if he gets on base, it's
TBH didn't even realize that. I'm definitely using him at shortstop on DraftKings. I think, in all reality, if every night on DraftKings you went to go set your lineups and just put Hamilton in at shortstop every single night, I bet that would be a profitable decision over the long run. I imagine that would be plus EV, like if you seriously just did that every single night. As far as cheap outfielders go, who do you prefer out of Rajai Davis or JD Martinez, Derek?
Batman has Rajai really high. Is Joe Saunders like terrible at preventing steals or something?
Maybe.
But I'm not buying too much into JD Martinez anyway. I think Rajai has a more consistent track record of skills. Although the park shift is more favorable for Martinez with whatever power you think he does have. So I don't know.
Oh, so dismissive, Derek.
I need to look into it more, but I think I go Rajai because I don't know. I'm not buying into JD yet.
I think that I'm the same way about power hitters, the same way I am about shooting guards who shoot a lot. I completely swoon for guys like JD Martinez who do nothing but strike out or hit the ball a really long way. Because the first thing I did when I started setting lineups for tonight was figuring out how I could get JD Martinez and Cole Calhoun in my lineups with the rest of everybody. But Rajai Davis is probably definitely the safer cash game play because he can make your night a couple ways. He doesn't have a lot of power, but he can hit a home run, especially off Saunders, who's terrible. And he is unconscious stealing the bases. He does not care against a lefty, whatever. He's running. So, yeah, I think he's a pretty solid option. What about you?
It looks like Saunders is actually pretty decent.
He's
runners on too.
He's a lefty, dude.
Well, yeah, but that was Derek was wondering just because of why Batman was so high on him, and so I think that's.
Is Trinos really bad?
No, Trinos actually has a decent gun. A guy I'm trying to figure out. I can't find the stats right now. Okay. The thing with Raja, I think, is he's a better play on a slate where you're not going to get negative points for a caught stealing, because, like you said, he does. I mean, he's fearless. He's going to attempt to steal, but he's got 6 caught stealings on the year. It's not. I mean, it's not a sure thing with him because he'll just go no matter what. It doesn't have to be the right setup for him. So I think I'd much prefer rostering him on FanDuel versus DraftStreet or DraftKings, where you do get those negative points for a caught stealing. But at the same time, I think I kind of side with you, Davis, and the JD Martinez love. But where Davis is priced, like on FanDuel, Davis is priced $500 cheaper.
$500 cheaper.
That's decent cap savings.
Well, here, let me ask you this: Josh Hamilton or JD Martinez? Because that's the decision I'm faced with right now.
Josh Hamilton.
Okay. Josh Hamilton, I think, for me, is the way Miggy is for you, where he just burns me every time he's in a good spot. And then he's out here getting hits off Chris Sale, which is pretty frustrating. So outside of Angels and Indians bats, is there anyone else you guys are really looking at? I mean, probably not. I think that's really about all you need, but there might be someone I'm not mentioning.
I think Oakland bats are fine, especially like on DraftKings where Moss qualifies at outfield. Like they're getting a really big park boost going from Oakland to Citi Field. Like I said, it's a pretty good power park. And Wheeler's decent, but he's not great.
Oh, so I do need to mention George Springer is like dumb cheap everywhere. He's 4.7 on DraftStreet, and that's really the only place he's super inexpensive, but that's a really good price tag against a left-handed
that's
pitcher.
a DraftStreet. You just put him in. And
yeah.
There's a position filled. I think if that Baltimore game plays, I like both the leadoff hitters in that game as cheap options. Eaton against Ubaldo and Markakis against Hector Noes. He just is salary relief options.
Yeah, I have no problem with that at all. Okay, that's probably it for outfield. Let's move on to guaranteed dongs. Yeah.
Is there any question who it's going to be? I mean,
no. If you want to take Miggy, you can take Miggy. If you want to take the cheap way out.
I mean, Miggy's obviously the best bet to dong tonight, but okay, non-Miggy division, I'll say, I don't know, Nelson Cruz.
Okay, under the radar.
Under the radar, Chris Carter.
Like it, love it. Total.
I'll go Josh Hamilton as my guaranteed. And Matt Dominguez for the under the radar.
Love it. I love all these Astros. I'm going to make my obvious one George Springer, and I will make my under the radar. Who will I make it? Does Lonnie Chisenhall count since he hasn't homered in like 2 weeks?
Yes, he counts.
Okay, all right, then Lonnie Chisenhall. Those are mine. All right, I'm gonna regret this. What is the decision? I mean, we're probably all gonna say that we hate.
I'm gonna regret whoever I end up pitching. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. James Shields is locked in for me right now, so I'm gonna regret him.
Let's ask the man himself, Mr. Survivor, David Kitchen, with your Survivor bullet. Who are you using at your starting pitcher slot on FanDuel?
Right now I'm going with you, Davis.
With you going with Iwakuma?
Yeah.
Yeah. See, that's right.
So that kind of scared me when you were the only guy.
Oh yeah.
You don't exactly want Davis's vote of confidence.
Right.
All right. Well, last night if you would have went with me, you would have been fine. You would have probably taken first place in the Survivor last night.
I probably would have. Luckily, I didn't play FanDuel last night because I would have definitely faded Kershaw.
I think
don't get it.
I'm buying into Iwakuma more. I may wind up with him.
Awesome! Come on, Tuttle.
No.
Come on, Tuttle.
Don't
James
act
Shields. James Shields.
It's not Shields for me, but I think Iwakuma I can get on board with.
I don't think you can go wrong with Shields. I mean, the whole thing with
I want to just okay, let's see. 53 minutes and 45 seconds. I'm going to put the timestamp on that for tomorrow. We're just going to play it over and over again when he has 6 earned runs.
No, I mean, Shields is much more risky than Iwakuma just because he's been really bad at points this year. And I think Iwakuma's worst start, I think he gave up 4 earned runs to the Astros.
Yeah.
And there's no shame in that.
But saying that you don't think you can go wrong with James Shields tonight might be overstating things a bit.
I'll say this. Iwakuma's a better play. Just definitively, he is a better play tonight. But I don't think you...
I would agree with that, too.
But I wouldn't tell you that you are wrong for using Shields.
Okay. I mean, that's better. It just sometimes
How about you do this? How about you do the opposite of what Steve does?
No. I don't want to. I will say that Kluber was the guy that I was looking at beforehand. I think Vegas likes him a lot too as far as strikeouts go. I just don't want to. I don't want to risk it with the Survivor tournament. It's like night and day. I might play Kluber like on DraftKings. Like it's night and day. FanDuel and DraftKings. DraftKings you have to get like in the top 25%. FanDuel you just don't have to be in the bottom 25%.
FanDuel is like literally just the slowest grind to death ever.
It's been
brutal.
It's been going on since May, and I was talking to Dan Bach about it in San Fran, and he said that he kind of likes like the funds being locked up. Like, I mean, if you advanced in DraftKings last night, you immediately got $200. Like, I mean, they pay out kind of as you go, kind of how Draft Day used to do it. But FanDuel, they just they hold that until you're done. So basically, you have your funds locked up until you lose, which. It kind of, like, I would rather that money be released, but I'm not going to complain because I'd have already spent that money, like, on 7 monster entries before, so it's like, at least you have something to look forward to.
Which just tells you that it would be smart for the site to release the money as you progress.
Yeah.
Because you're just going to invest it back into the ecosystem.
Yeah, but but I mean, what they're doing is basically, it's all marketing. I mean, they drag this thing on and they put it on Mondays and Wednesdays, not necessarily Fridays, but so you want to play more. If you put one lineup in, you're going to want to play more. So it's definitely interesting to see kind of how things progress with the different Survivor tournaments.
Papa Cub just said FanDuel is like being married and DraftKings is like being single. I think that's good. I like it. I like the analogy.
It's true. Even though I told Scott Pianowski earlier that FanDuel was easy, so I don't know what that means.
You did say that actually.
Yeah.
Yep.
So,
Derek,
should leave that
do you
there.
have a Batman sticker taped onto your laptop?
How are you just now seeing this?
I did not watch the show yesterday. I was at Kauffman Stadium.
Oh, but I mean, we're an hour into the show, and you're just now noticing it.
Well, we got done early because there was not much to talk about. It's whichever Tigers and Indians bats go off. Good luck, dude.
And I mean, I really wish we had the opportunity to play Orioles tonight. Like, I'll be keeping an eye on that. Maybe reaching out on the bat phone to Kyle Cannon to see what the weather is looking like there.
Oh, does your computer not get weather.com? Is that
Davis?
Yeah.
I don't think it does. It must not.
I don't think it does either. Well, if you're anything like your friend Ben, you probably have just been looking at the wrong city.
That was one of the classic Ben stories. I mean,
you can't trust daily baseball data.
you saw exactly why I have said that Ben is like he's like a soundboard machine for our group of friends. Like, I mean, I have known Ben since we were 5 years old, but even like,
well, we just got to teach him how to be tactful.
Since college, he'll just like say something so definitive. I mean, Davis, you say a lot of definitive stuff too, which comes back to haunt you as well, but you don't say it with such.
Does it haunt me though?
Yeah. No, not yet. One day it will.
When I get less intelligent, maybe.
like when you're running for office and someone shows a picture of you in tie-dye.
Oh yeah, that Mike Clay picture. That was pretty brilliant.
The best part was that you actually took off your bucket hat right before you asked the question.
Well, yeah, I didn't want to look ridiculous.
And then he told me later it was because he did not want to look ridiculous. So that's why he took the bucket hat off. Almost as a sign of respect.
Still had the tie-dye on, though?
Oh, yeah. It was like a sign of respect to the FSTA. Like, about to ask a question. Let me remove my bucket hat.
That's too good.
Oh, gosh. All right, guys. Well, that will do it for tonight. Good luck tonight. I mean, really, I'm the one that needs the luck. So hopefully you guys get the Soccer Dave luck that's been coming.
Dude, Coors Field is not even fair.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad that there's no Coors Field action tonight. Tuttle, you were talking about it earlier. But I think a lot of people kind of breathe a sigh of relief, like whenever the games do not feature Coors.
Well, I think it's funny to see all these guys on Twitter complain about Coors, and they're all NBA guys that were completely fine with Philadelphia, the 76ers. But then once it comes to baseball, it's funny because you see those guys, and those are the guys that obviously are having a very good season. Are the ones? It's the same with me with NBA. I would complain about it because I wasn't successful in NBA. So take advantage of Coors when you can, because there's people out there that aren't.
Yes, it's
real quick cue for Derek. Do you like Anthony Rizzo tonight? Am I ever gonna get a Rizzo home run in my lineup, or is it only gonna be nights when I don't use him?
Who's against Latos tonight? Yeah.
Nah.
I don't know. I think he's a decent play, but I don't know. I think there's better ones.
Whatever.
Yeah, you guys know that Lincecum's pitching a no-hitter right now, right?
Yep.
Through 7 innings.
They've mentioned it in chat a few times. So
I'll show you a chat.
I don't even know what that means. To go over lineups again before we get out of here, go over matchups rather in the Elite Cup semifinals, or I don't know, knockout round, I guess what it's called. Aaron Law and Hoop 2410. Derek Carty plays Birdwings. Napster Man against Fishcake King. And Tony M versus Art Vandelay. And then our boy Leone plays DB730. Daily Crusher plays Show Me the Money. Soccer Dave beats Tommy G. And Magic Sports Guy plays Louis Cards. So should be fun. I'm sure, again, that they'll have those graphics up. Thanks for tuning in. Tomorrow we'll have Mr. Tuttle 3 days in a row. Very nice.
I know, man. And
Napster Man, I think, Davis, was it you that were kind of you thought that Nap was going to be like real outgoing?
No, I don't know.
Or,
dude, he's chill.
Yeah, like he's so chill. I think Davis was like surprised, and I didn't know why. But yeah, Napster.
I guess he does come across like he'd be kind of eccentric in person.
Yeah, he was getting embarrassed when I was yelling at this nerdy guy in an Ortiz jersey in front of us. Like,
oh, that was really funny.
I'd be getting embarrassed too, I'm sure.
We were all we had Grant with us. We had Steve yelling every time Casimir got a strikeout.
Oh man!
And every time Jaso would go to warm up, I would just like start freaking out. Like when Jaso would be on deck, I was like fangirling.
It was classic. All right, guys, that'll do it. Join us tomorrow, 4 p.m. Central, 5 p.m. Eastern, for the Daily Fantasy MLB show, sponsored by who, Davis?
Fantasy Elite. You were supposed to ask me where you get it.
Yeah, I know. I switched it up and asked you who. So, I mean,
Fantasy Elite, the fantasy app that you can get in the Apple App Store.
Oh, there you go. Later.